Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrots. It's roughly 5:44 p.m. in UK time. I'm gonna give the update. There's some new developments that I want to share with you guys. Talking about the liquidity, we have finished consuming the red area. So the question here is, should we be expecting a bounce from here? We had a breakdown this morning. If you watch the video, you're already aware that we are on our way to RSI 25 on the 4-hour. I'll give an update on that as well. Some pretty cool targets by the dollar that I'm seeing here playing out so far that I want to give an update on the weekly time frame. And there you go, guys, buy the dollar as well with the dollar index. I'll give an update on that too. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I put out one of these videos. Thanks so much, guys. Yesterday we had 417 likes on the video It Won't Hold. What could go wrong? Really appreciate that. This morning video almost made it to 300 likes. Let's see if tonight we can get again to 300 likes. That will be outstanding. Guys, don't miss also this morning video about altcoins. I'm covering Jupiter, Cat in a Dog's World, and Alpha. A very different way of doing TA, very contrarian to what most of other influencers are doing, using good sources of data and analysis and not just drawing random lines all over the place. I hope you appreciate that. So yeah, this morning we broke down below this support on the 4-hour. This is a global breakdown, at least in the 4-hour. Let's not freak out with the naming of things. I think I saw at that point the RSI somewhere in here. And at that point in the morning, I was thinking maybe we're gonna get into 34 somewhere there and then test this as resistance. So far, it's been just 3 candles in a row just in red going directly into the target. If we look at the price action, we have made it to 65.8. That's a number that resonates a lot with the past 2 or 3 videos that we've been talking. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're getting very close as well to the target of 25. At the moment, we are at 28.7. Again, I wasn't expecting it was going to be so quick, but at least we're pointing in the right direction. As I mentioned this morning, just being in here, if we close this current candle, which closes in 3 hours, and we are making an RSI of 28, that's below this low of 30. So that already breaks even further the structure. We broke it already with a global breakdown in here, but then we are putting another nail in the coffin. Of course, this candle hasn't been confirmed. The previous one closed at 32, which is higher than 30. In that case, we don't take the bullet if we bounce back up in the next 3 hours. But this intra-candle action in the 4-hour is looking quite bearish. Looking at the daily, this morning we already knew we are breaking below the point of control. Please watch the morning video as well. It's full of insights that I might forget to repeat tonight, and I think it's not the point to repeat everything. I just want to add the new things that are happening. I think we are on our way to the next support roughly around 65k according to the daily time frame. Remember that we are within a channel on the RSI. One thing to note is that we have already stopped respecting the edges of this channel. We were expecting to get to 72 and we got only to 70.6. This candle daily, that is information, starts from 60. If we were to reverse aggressively from here, we could still put that 72, but I think it's low likely. I'm more than glad to be surprised if I'm wrong on that. My point is, if we haven't made it to 72 and we are no longer respecting that top end, why should we be respecting the bottom end? There is a case in that scenario for potentially reverting from there and just forget that before we were religiously respecting each and every touch of the channel. So this scenario of coming to 50 is possible, but I will say now it's less likely because we already broke this trend of touching those edges. Seeing that we are falling so sharply in here and assuming that we are repeating some move like this where we got almost 80% of the channel down and then we bounce from there and then we came back down in here. Let's say we hit the bottom, assuming we do at an RSI of 49 instead of the 50 we were talking about before. Let's add 49 in here. That will take us roughly to 64.6, right below this level of resistance that we respected there and a few times in the past in here as well. If you are following me on Telegram, Instagram or Twitter, you are fully informed. I told you that we are testing on others, which is all the altcoins minus the top 10 market cap, the support. And since Bitcoin is dragging the market down, I'm fearing that we might break down this pattern that starts from September on the 4-hour time frame as well. At the moment, others is at 217 billion and there's an order blocking here. We are risking to get to the low 200 billion if we continue with this breakdown. Let me show you an update. As you can see, at the moment, we're getting very close to the edge of also the order block, not just the breakdown below the trend line. This is a candle that needs, again, 3 hours to close. This could be just a liquidity hand to trap shorts in here, so be careful. I wouldn't take a short with a live candle below the support because they can quickly trap you and take you back into the range like they did in here, where you get completely wrecked with your short. There's no way to escape that. By the way, they did it here too. You can see that even there are some candles close below the range and then they trap the shorts, push the price back up. I think that can happen here, but it's less likely if it breaks actually below the order block. And if you're wondering what are these dotted lines, this is just a free indicator from Lux Algo called Eco that takes some sort of snapshot of the previous past price action and it borrows one of those areas and it mimics that into the future. I don't think it works, but I'm just having a little fun with seeing the future price action in the chart. At the moment, the open interest, I remain very curious what's going to happen in here because it's the first time that we close a green candle above the 21 billion mark and we've been holding pretty decent that level. Of course, if there's a massive flash to the downside, we could be heading to the top tier in here, the middle or the bottom. I wouldn't expect to get to the bottom. Everything is possible in crypto really. But if we get to the open interest back into 15 billion, basically resetting the open interest to the lowest levels that we have in the past 8 months, then there's something clearly very broken with the cycle. So far, no distributions from big whales. That's kind of the very bullish thing I can remain repeating like a parrot. And here's one of the things that have been playing out so far. When I started recording the video, we were bouncing though from this level. Now we are challenging once again, which makes me think that it might not hold the 65.7K, which was previous resistance after the 3 white soldiers candles on the weekly time frame, which is extremely bullish. We haven't had 3 of those since the beginning of the bull market. So it will be quite a shame now to break below this, put a new low, break the weekly structure once again, go back to 46. Yes, I have dry powder for that. But it's becoming quite exhausting to be in this range for longer than 8 months. I thought, finally, I'm gonna stop talking about the stupid megaphone pattern and hopefully we get another pattern next. But, you know, in COVID, the megaphone pattern took even longer. You can see the megaphone pattern before in here. That's what you get pretty much with every halving cycle, whether it happens a little bit after, within the halving, before the halving. In this case, it happened right in the halving. And we were expecting a megaphone pattern in here since I sold at 73.5. Now, if you open any crypto account, anyone that you're following on YouTube or crypto, Twitter, everybody's talking about the megaphone pattern or whatever it's called. Some people are joining it on the monthly, on the weekly, on the daily, on the 4-hour, using the wicks on the top, using the bodies of the candles. At this point in here, no one said megaphone pattern. Everybody was saying 150K, what are you doing? Are you stupid selling your Bitcoin? Just go to my tweet around March and to some of the videos I publish in here, and you're gonna find all the people angry at me for selling Bitcoin. Second thing, this might be a little bit of hopium. I hope that you appreciate to get some words of rewarding, reinforcing. We have had a pretty big rally on the DXY. And one of the things, guys, that you shouldn't be doing is try to top an index. It's very difficult. Sometimes I have managed to top the S&P. I have sometimes managed to top the Nasdaq. The DXY and the gold is another history. It's very difficult. At the moment, I'm trying to do my best, and I'm seeing that the weekly, there is this big trend line in here, which I'm monitoring. I got wrong the number yesterday. It wasn't 57, it's 58. So I put properly the trend line and it's adjusted today. And you can see that we have just given a kiss to RSI 58, having a very, very small reaction to it. I am hoping that that is the top. It's going to be a lot of pain to see a breakout bullish of the dollar index. And people were asking me, why on earth after cutting rates we are seeing the dollar rallying? We should be seeing the dollar now collapsing because they have weakened it by reducing the interest rates. The problem is that what makes dollar strong is not just the current interest rates. There's a lot of other factors. And sorry to be so insisting, but follow me on Telegram, Twitter, or Instagram, and you're gonna find this post today where I'm explaining the different factors that I perceive can be having an effect on pushing the dollar right now higher. I include as well the technicals. Go ahead and read it. I won't bore you with the details in the video. If we were to see a rejection from RSI 58 though, that could be very good news, especially if we break down in an aggressive way to the downside. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to look for a breakdown in here because we only have 2 points of touches. So let's say we see a rejection in here. I don't have a way to really put a trend line yet to find a breakdown. I can only see a rejection in here, and hopefully we come back to this line later on, maybe in January 2025, and then we break down, and then we can actually see an impulsive move of Bitcoin. Just speculating in there. This morning we were holding pretty decent the trend line in white that you can see here on the RSI weekly on Bitcoin. Right now we are pinching it below it. Of course, the week is still early, it's Wednesday, but having a breakdown there means to have to wait a little bit longer if we were to close on Sunday like that. So yes guys, we consume the liquidity 4 in the scalping chart. Luckily for us, there hasn't been many red formations below 4. And that is a little bit promising, to be honest. It could be that the price action pinches this very quickly, comes back up because there's not much more left and continues to the upside. This is just looking at the scalping. But I have to look as well at the 4-hour time frame because that contains a longer history of liquidity pools. And as you can see, here we are. We have taken liquidity from here that is not even visible in the 4-hour because that has been insignificant compared to what we currently have between 64.6 and 65.3. So you see the price now pushing lower. You have that liquidity there. It doesn't take a lot to understand where could be that incentive. Looking at the lower end in here, we still have that 60 to 61 roughly. Below 60s, there's a lot more. Zooming out, here is the big price in my opinion. So I'm just looking to see how low do we want to trap all these shorts to create even bigger price in here and a nice path of liquidity so the price can move smooth, taking that liquidity into the top, into the 70 and finally break it. I still don't know the answer to that, but in the upcoming days we're gonna continue monitoring each and every move of market makers, stop losses, and ultimately that is our edge in this channel. I remind you that this morning we discovered this level at 61.6, which is pretty heavy in the past 3 months. Price continued to creep into the next fair value gaps, which start from 64.8 into 63.4. There is some confluence there with the liquidity pool that we were talking about, 65.4 to 64.8. Roughly, there is an overlap. And in the past 30 days, information from CoinGlass is showing us this level of 68 being there. We're going to keep that level in mind for a reversal and see if it makes sense at some point once we start seeing signs of reversal to hit that 68. Let's remember it because it could be a pretty good trade if we hit it all together. And some new developments here on the order book. I don't know if you can see it already. Let me zoom in here. And the liquidity at the top continues to become smaller. We started with 97, now we have 82. Every day we are losing a little bit of steam from that 70K selling wall that we've been talking all the weekend. The level of 97 is just almost impossible to penetrate for the price. I haven't seen the price breaking a level like that, at least in this cycle. And at the moment in support at 65.8, we are seeing 58 million in support. That it's really good. We have 85 million in here, and that was responsible for this move. Some of these reversals in here didn't take much liquidity. We have 30, in here there's 53, in here there was 33, in here there was 28. Right now we have 59 million. Unfortunately, the largest whales are still not bothered to take any long. They're just dumping. So I seriously don't understand what liquidity is doing there. I think we are going to have to dig a little bit deeper. Let's go to trading light. And as you can see, we are in a very interesting area for potentially taking a long. You can see the delta of longs and shorts in here bouncing over this trend line. And we are right in the spot where we could be seeing some sort of reversal, not necessarily a breakout to all-time high, but potentially a dead cat bounce or some interesting move to the upside. You can see that sometimes we break the trend line, sometimes we don't even touch it. At the moment, we haven't touched it yet. Let's see what are they planning to do in here. Let's look at the order book. How big are these entries? We have at the moment 430, 470, and 600. There's pretty big interest to buy this. And I shouldn't be recording the video. Maybe I should be placing an order in here. There's 439 at 65K as well. Sometimes these orders can be pulled out right when the price comes in there, so don't get tricked. Never trade just by seeing this. If you want to get access to this website, it's called Trading Light, and there's a discount in the description. What I am liking for the short term is that the delta is getting pretty hot. We are getting to 146.9K. That's larger than the delta in positive that we have in here. That was enough to make the whole move to the downside. So having this delta now in the negative and just continuing on the way down, eventually this thing is going to reverse, put some sort of double bottom formation, some pattern that indicates we're ready to reverse. I am sometimes a little bit of a chicken and I want to see the funding rates going into the negative to make some long decisions. But unfortunately, we are still not getting really into the red. When you get into the red in funding rates, it means that too many shorts have entered. You can clearly tell why they are placing orders in here. It's because there is the previous resistance in there. So people are trading this particular pattern at the moment. And they're probably thinking, look at all that liquidity that we have on top of the price. This is just a shame to start targeting the lower end. Are we really going to be able to get to 48K to hit the 2 million that is below when we already have 2.6 million right next to us? At least judging from the distance, right? It's not very close to the price. It's 5K and beyond, probably 8K above the price. But from 66 to 48, there's a lot more work that they need to do. And yes, this morning in the video, I explained clearly how the PNR filter works. This was one of the charts that I featured last night. I mentioned that I have a collection of old charts that I haven't featured in the channel and not checked even myself for a very long time, which are very interesting. Go and watch it because PNR filter is a free indicator, is phenomenal. I have made pretty decent profits using PNR filter. I also show in the morning how it works with Ethereum and how terrible it works with ADA, because nothing really works with ADA. And today I'm going to show you something different, interesting. I've been looking at one of these indicators that uses the SOPR. And since I forgot what it means spend output profit ratio. Basically, what I remember it means is when people are closing their positions at a loss. and those are high likely levels for the price to reverse. And I created an indicator that is currently part of my subscription, but I constantly show it for free in these videos, so you don't have to buy it. It only works on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That limitation is because the SOPR data is currently available only for those 3 tickers on TradingView. My contribution is that I use my own statistical analysis to find areas where actually the price is bouncing. And I have featured this multiple times in the channel. You can take a screenshot to see the performance of the indicator. We took some of these trades in the past. In particular, I really like the performance on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but lithium hasn't been really bad. You can see pretty much all signals are very good, except for these shorts in here that I'm now noticing. Even this short was good. And the principle is very simple. I am just normalizing and doing a bunch of funny things with the data coming from the SOPR to place it between like a Bollinger band, basically 2 bands, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. And whenever this oscillator version of the SOPR crosses back above one of these bands, you get one of the signals. There are sell and buy signals, which are easy to integrate into alerts. But the reason I keep this chart all the time in my Chrome tabs is not just to make my life more difficult trying to find the charts, but also because if you look at the oscillator, sometimes you don't get the signal. In here, you got the signal because you manage to break below the band and then break above it. And that is great because it can be automated. But I also pay attention on where is the oscillator at all times, particularly when we are dumping or pumping. Getting very close to a band can mean that there is an opportunity there. It's still not a signal, sure, but getting too close to the top is a sell signal, and getting too close to the bottom should be a buy signal too. And where are we with Bitcoin? Bitcoin is roughly at the same point we were in here, far from this end that just kissed the band, but it couldn't cross below it. That's why we didn't get a buy signal there. But you get the point. If we were paying attention at this point on the 10th of October, the fact that we couldn't break the band and please the stats of this thing to push the signal, if I noticed that, I will have taken a nice long in here. This long gave pretty much 15% upside. At the moment, we are at a number of 1 and the band is still a bit further away. Is it too far to find a bottom? Not very far, but it could drop a little bit further. And if that happens, I will let you know. I think I watch this chart at least once a day. The indicator is available to VIP members, and the only reason you may want to get access to the indicator is because you want to do the actual automation of this and use it adjusting your own risk management and at your own risk, of course. But if you want to stay up to date with what's going on with the SOPR, all you have to do is leave down a comment below in any of the future videos, and I will actually appreciate that you remind me and I'll give you an update. So no need to buy it. Make sure you don't miss the video in the morning. I gave an update on this liquidity injection in China, very important. Do watch the video because there's a warning that the signal might vanish before Sunday. And yes, guys, Bitcoin dominance is once again pumping to 58.69. As you notice, it pumped when Bitcoin was pushing higher, and now it's pumping once again as Bitcoin is coming down. That's a very typical behavior of the Bitcoin dominance. What people want to know is when are we going into altcoin season? We're not going to go into altcoin season until Bitcoin dominance actually cools down. It needs to break down from this bearish ascending wedge at some point in the future. For as long as the economy is a little bit weird, I don't see that happening, so we keep an eye on this. The USDT dominance, though, has broken down, is on the way down in here, which is bullish for assets. Notice as well that it had a bullish breakout first. So the thing I do not want to see is that the USDT dominance finds support on the yellow line and continues higher. That could be the result of anything in the magnitude of a black swan event. But the more natural expected outcome, if things continue in the typical way cycles do at this point, is to continue going lower and eventually put a lower low. Not necessarily on the RSI because that's already at 21, but maybe to come back and test the support at 4.5 0.41% on this historic trend line that has held the USDT dominance. And Total 3 seems to have placed a double top in here. So a little bit sketchy, but so far we have done so good. We bounce on the Fibonacci golden pocket. We still have a few days potentially for this to hit higher. But for that, we are going to need help from one of these macro factors: gold topping, dollar topping, Federal Reserve entering in quantitative easing, or the global liquidity index printing a very high breakout towards the upside, injecting a lot of liquidity so these altcoins can absorb it and shake out from this ugly pattern that we are seeing in there. Hopefully, at the very least, we get one of those three macro factors playing out in November. Guys, bluffing is my exchange of preference when it comes to the most convenient one. You only need 5 minutes to open an account, fund it, and start trading with leverage. Altcoins, everything that you can imagine is already available on Bluffing. And the beauty is that they don't even ask you for any KYC. I managed to negotiate with these chaps a 10,000 bonus if you sign up with the link down below. That's based on volume traded, and you can get a huge discount in fees, trading fees. If you already have an exchange, no worries. You can have a look at the description. Here are my favorite crypto products, all of them with discounts and bonuses. You can see that most of them are using them on a daily basis. If you are interested in getting access to my premium indicators, scroll to the top and there is a link that says join TTP to access both signals. You're gonna need the VIP one. If you still want to access them and you don't want to pay the subscription, just get a Bybit account using the link in the description as well. If you trade enough with your Bybit account, you can connect it to my website and automatically you don't have to pay for the VIP subscription either. See you on the next one. Bye bye.